how much should you be spending on marketing? So this is a question as an investor, an entrepreneur, I get asked quite a lot, when people come to me for advice. And I always ask the question, well, what sort of return on investment are you currently getting from your current marketing spend? I thought I'm going to do a podcast on this today. And this is to be, very real about the entrepreneur journey and how that fits into driving your sales, because this is the Sales Drive podcast. And ultimately what we do on the Sales Drive podcast is build great sales titans. And what I mean by sales titans is very confident salespeople that are driven towards their own success and the business success. And those sales titans can also be the business owners and the managers and the directors that are there, as well as the employees, of course. Anyone can be a sales titan. And why wouldn't they? If they're driven by, their success and they correlate success to more money and perhaps what they can do with that money when they have the time to spend it. So more time, more money, more influence, more power. And what I mean by power is not power over people, but power as in their own internal feelings of feeling more powerful more often. Who would not want that? So that's what I mean by the word titan. This is the Sales Drive podcast, and we are going to up your sales in your job or your business. Because if the business makes more money, then guess what? You get paid more money too. You don't get paid more if there's no money in. So what drives the sales? And this question around marketing is that, the idea of marketing is there's two elements to marketing. And one that is got to be that you increase awareness. So increase your visibility. People need to know about you. Yeah. So the number one goal of marketing is, how do people know more about you? Or are you the world's best kept secret? So marketing needs to be able to get you out there. And number two is marketing also needs to position you. You need to be able to educate the customer or educate the client to why they should be working with you. And that's what it breaks down to, really. So think of anything of what your definition of marketing may be. And if you break it down, it comes back down to those two elements of how do you get more visibility and how do you also educate the customer so that you're the solution for them. Because the reason that they may not be seen, so let's say you was very visible and more people knew about you, and then they went, oh yeah, I've heard about that company, but I haven't gone with them. Well, the reason they haven't gone with you is because you haven't educated them of how you solve their problem. So the way salespeople do this is that they have to actually have a conversation, and they're picking up the communication element of getting that education across. Because if they can make an informed, educated decision that your product or service is the best option, then, they will work with you. People go, well, Lewis, it's about price and they need to have the best value for money. Yeah, they need to get the best value for money. So it's not about price. Price and value are two different fucking things. Yeah. If you're just about price and you think that you know it all because it's about price, and the thing is with a lot of businesses is that some of their KPIs are to get, especially like purchasers, for example, would be to get that price down. Yeah, and it's their job to make sure that they get the best price. If they got a financial hat on, they're thinking price. But as business owners and entrepreneurs and me as an investor, I've got an investment mindset. And if you're going to scale and you're going to, maybe one day own your own businesses like I do, or perhaps be, a very high income earner by working for somebody else. Both options are perfectly viable. There's evidence of them both working very well for people. But if you are going to own your own businesses, then you're going to need an investment mindset. So the more you spend, the more that you need to get return on it. Now, for you to get that return is up to you. If you spend the money in areas that promise a great return and they slip, then you've got to take ownership that you've let that fucking slip. You've let it slip. Yeah. So you can't just go and spend a lot of money and expect to instantly to get a result from it. You've got to actually hold that thing, whatever that be, person or business or whatever, accountable to making sure that you actually get the outcome that you want. Yeah, because they don't know. They don't know your standards. Yeah, this is another episode, by the way, is that we are going to talk about the thermometer of what great sales looks like, because your version of great sales listening to this may not be my version of great sales. I interviewed a girl yesterday, and her standard, her thermometer. What I mean by thermometer is, what is your temperature set at? I used to live in Australia, for example. Hot over there is a lot different to hot in the UK. Yeah, so different standards of what you're used to. So this girl I interviewed the other day, she was used to doing a minimum of 400 calls a day within a 10-hour day. And because she used to work in 1,000 people call center, and that's the standards of what is set up. Now, a lot of SMEs that are listening to this may not even have a salesperson that does 400 calls a month. So your thermometer is set to, with UK weather, if it's 25 degrees, it's hot and everyone's sunbathing and then the beer gardens with the fucking tops off. But in Australia, that's cold. You see what I mean? So the different thermometer, the different environment is different for different businesses. So when you're asking the question, how much should you spend on marketing? Well, if you think about this salesperson, how much would you spend on a salesperson that could actually get through that and have high quality calls? It's not just about volume. Yeah, volume is about resilience and more to do with someone's traits. But they've got to have the ability to also learn and develop. Otherwise, those calls are just going to get blasted through. And you're going to piss a lot of people off if you're not a very good sales professional, hence why we do the Sales Drive podcast, to keep that resilience up and build both elements of that. And this is why, if you are a business owner or manager listening in right now, then ultimately you want to build an environment where everybody is aligned to that sort of goal and they're learning. So if I listen to any audio books or read any PhD papers or academic papers, I share this with my sales team. Why? Well, it's because if they're not learning and not growing, then we speak different languages. Yeah. I also send it to my financial controller and the financial controllers, because they need to make a decision as well and advise me on what the best use of my money is on investment to get high levels of return. But if they're not educated in the same sort of sales and marketing, then how do they know what the rationale behind actually getting this, this return is? So there's a key element here that everyone in the business needs to be learning. Otherwise, you start to speak different languages and no decision ever gets made, or a decision gets made and they don't agree on it. So learning around investments and learning around marketing, sales should be something that you always get people to work together on. Because if you don't create an environment for nurturing great sales. So, yeah, this is a bit of a plug, really, that it's not just you that needs to be listening to this. It needs to be your sales team as well. Otherwise, you can learn all the skills and the new strategies that you can apply into any business for how you start to get more sales into a business. And you'll be speaking a different language to your team, even though they may turn around and go, yes, boss. They actually mean, fuck you. What do you know about this? Let me just crack on with my normal day job and get the same result that we've always done. So the environment is everything. You have to build an environment. And I don't just say you can build an environment. You have to. You must build an environment. We call this culture. We build a culture where everybody is growing together. Otherwise, the business is only as good as the least educated person. Yeah. Because if every person is in your business as a process, right, that process starts to drop down if someone isn't growing. Okay. So, Lewis, you said this was going to be about what would you spend on marketing. Now, there is rationale behind everything that I'm saying here. I'm giving you the background of my experiences, the real talk of what it actually takes to scale your sales and how to know you're making the best return on your marketing spend. Now, here's the twist on it. The reason I mentioned investor is because marketing is an investment. Marketing costs money. It either costs you an employee. Oh, Lewis, I've got somebody who's going to do a lot of social media posts. By the way, good luck with that. The only person who cares about your social media posts are actually you. Social media posts isn't the hard work, right? Anybody can do it. Yeah. The hard work is actually what do you do with actually getting return investment from your social media. Okay. So Look, everybody costs money. If you employ somebody, that is part of your marketing cost as well. So if you were to create a marketing budget, everything that's getting spent on marketing and the return on investment, you need to figure out what is the okay. So imagine this: you got a valley. One side of the valley is the spend, and the other side of the valley is the return on that investment. So you spent £10,000 on ads, and you've got £50,000 back. Yeah. What was the things that actually happened in between to make that happen? What did you measure along the way? What is the bridge between the valley to how you link the two? Because ultimately, that's what you need to be measuring. Yeah. So you can't measure people say, oh, Lewis, but it's awareness and word of mouth and all this bullshit. No, you need to actually figure out what that is they're actually saying is there's an excuse that they don't know their numbers. Yeah. People need to understand as managers and as sales titans that we're building here, what is the outcome that you're actually looking from your marketing? Is it click-throughs? Is it leads generated? Is it conversations started? Is it emails captured? Is it, you see what I mean? We could go into a lot more detail here. We'll talk about this on other podcasts. So what I'm saying is that how do we start to measure not just the return on investment financially, but the return on interest? Yeah, so return on the investment. What the results of that investment? Yeah, what sort of things can we measure to know on a more of a short-term basis that this was a key strategy to implement? Underpinning all this, though, is still that investor mentality. Now, if you don't invest in the people to run that marketing team, you don't invest in the actual strategies in marketing, then you're never going to be able to get the return. But to understand the investments, if this was in a financial setting, okay, so if I was to invest into a business and put 100K into a business, I would want to know that 100K is going to be able to be pulled out in the future for more money, or it's going to have paid me dividends over the certain period of time. You see what I mean? There needs to be returns on it. Okay, so it's the same sort of mentality of you wouldn't put 100K of your own money into something. So how would you make sure that you're going to see the indicators of within a business marketing strategy? You need to see indicators that this is going to win, so you know it's the right direction. Because the key with marketing is it's not a one-time 100K investment. It's going to be a consistent thing, because one thing that we do know about marketing, and this would be point 3 around marketing, if we actually dig into what marketing is fucking consistency. Yeah. The amount of people I've worked with that have gone, oh, well, it's all test and measure, and we got to try it and we got to test it, and that wasn't working. And they've gone like deep into spending a lot of money straight away and then stopped after 3 to 6 months. Marketing doesn't work like that. If you check out my YouTube videos of me trying to figure it out from like 2018, you'll see that it takes a lot of consistency. And it's not just me here. Go and check out people like Mr. Beast, right? How long has he been doing YouTube for? Yeah. You'll see that it goes back to like 2012, right? So over 10 years that he's tried to figure this out and tried to sort it out. And then eventually it started to break through. Now, with that mentality of like, well, I've tried it for 6 months, but it doesn't work. Well, you haven't actually invested time. So it's not really about just the financial elements of this. It's about time. Okay. People say, yeah, time is money. Well, time is money, because that you've had to put time in to create that money at some point in your life through leveraging a business or leveraging a team or whatever. You've created that money. So what you've done is turn time into money. So it's still time. Now, for you to get good at the marketing stuff, you need to also remember that it's not just about investment of your money, but how much time are you prepared to put into this, or your team members' time, or your employees' time. Time is a big thing here. We need to make sure that that money and time is giving you the right markers, the right rising indicators that is going to lean towards higher revenue. So what should you be spending on marketing? Well, here's the caveat to all this podcast is, why would you want to turn the tap on in marketing, spend another £1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 to get more leads generated, for those leads then to go into a leaky bucket? And that leaky bucket is that if you think that marketing is just going to, you're going to sell high ticket items without meeting a person in the future and that AI is going to take over the world and stuff like that, well, good luck. People are just selling you AI because it's the next big thing. The reality is high ticket items get sold by people. They get sold through communication. People like relationships. Yeah. I had a challenge when I, purchased the Mrs. Tesla, for example, and they said, oh, yeah, you just log on and you don't even need to speak to a salesperson. No, I wanted to still speak to a salesperson. Yeah. When you go to an Aston Martin garage or a Rolls-Royce garage, then you expect to see a person, right? So great. Maybe the way the world's going for Tesla, but what is working as well out there, your company may not be a Tesla. So why go and automate everything right now when you just have a leaky bucket? Tesla also have billions of dollar marketing campaigns, which most businesses do not have, right? So why turn the tap on when there could be some massive potential with the leads that you already got? Here's what I mean by that. Let's say that you're already getting 100 leads a quarter. You turn some marketing taps on and you get 200 leads, right? Now, if your leads were converted at 10%, then you would only be getting 10 clients. Makes sense? Now, if you get 200 leads and you convert them at 10%, it's cost you money. So how much does a customer cost to buy? For example, you need to know that acquisition cost for a lead. How much does a lead cost you? So you can figure that out by how much you're spending on marketing, how many leads you're getting, and what the customer's worth. If you need more help on this, by the way, then reach out to me on LinkedIn, Lewis Haydon. Just drop me a DM and we can talk more on there. So you need to figure out that number and then understand what your customer costs to buy. And then secondly, we need to figure out then, well, if it's costing you, got 200 leads at a 10% conversion rate, what you've actually got is 20 leads, which makes sense. But let me tell you now, that may have cost you going to an exhibition that cost you 20 grand to put on, or employing a new employee, which costs you 30 grand a year. Yeah. So your marketing spend is actually coming out of your profits. And if you've got to look at your profit margins, you might not even be making that money from the person. So know your numbers, right? Again, if you want more help with that, you know what to do. Message me on LinkedIn. Thank you for listening to the podcast so far. A quick reminder that the A Players podcast and community remains free. The reason we do this podcast is because I believe that a great question to ask is, what advice would you give your younger self? For me, I wish I had a guide that showed me the exact steps to reach 100k a year in any job, and how much my life would be accelerated if I'd cut through that noise and just focused on those steps. We do not run ads or endorse sponsors because it is our mission to give back and share with you, the listener, knowledge gained from working with highly successful individuals and extensive research in management science so that everyone has access to tools that can accelerate their income and give them the opportunity to step into wealth. In line with allowing us to achieve that mission, we ask that you think about, how did you end up on this podcast today? Maybe it was through finding it on YouTube or Spotify or word of mouth. So please help feed forward by subscribing to the podcast and also share this podcast with another leader like you that you feel this podcast could really help out in helping them increase their personal income too. Let's get back to the show. Now, think of it this way. You've got 100 leads already with no marketing, or your current level of marketing, word of mouth. People tend to be doing some sort of marketing. If you've got, if you're a manager of a business, there's some sort of marketing going on. So you've got 100 leads already, but then your person is converting at 10%. What about if they was converting at 20%? Well, you would get that 20 leads already before even turning that marketing budget, that marketing spend on. Okay. Now, if you've got 20% conversion rate, that hasn't cost you anything else because your salesperson is just doing some different stuff. So they've learned some different things. The only thing it's costing you is that you can pay them more commission if you choose to, or if it's the right way or the right vehicle for them. Yeah. People shy away from commission, but ultimately you want 100% commission jobs. It's crazy. If salespeople are actually really good, they'd make a lot more money from doing just sales commission jobs. So what happens then when you do turn that marketing tap on is that you get 20% of the 200 leads, which would be 40 leads. And then you turn the marketing tap on even more and your salesperson keeps getting better. But your salesperson's training and development doesn't cost anything. They listen to this podcast and they get better. They learn the strategies and the techniques and they follow the step-by-steps on YouTube and they get better and it ups your conversion rate. So when you do turn the marketing tap on for more leads, here you go. I've just saved you £1,000 on Facebook ads. You don't need to spend that £1,000. Don't worry about it. You don't need it yet. You just need to get better at sales. Now, that salesperson as well with a good commission structure will also do your marketing for you. Because if you could say, right, okay, this is from the inbound stuff. What about if you go out there and do some outbound stuff as well? Rather than spending the £1,000 on Facebook ads, you say, hey, for every lead that you come in and you make us £1,000 and we've got £500 that is profit, for example, we'll give you £100. They'll go out there, make £1,000 from 10 sales. Yeah, you're actually getting the sale, not just pissing the money up the wall with your marketing. So this is an and, not an or. You see, you want to be doing both, but ultimately, which one comes first? Why would you turn the tap on into a leaky bucket? Yeah, your people, as long as you've been held accountable, as long as they're prepared to grow, be around the environment of learning, like the Sales Drive podcast. And this isn't just a plug for the podcast. This is why I do this stuff. Yeah. Then they will get better and increase the income already through the conversion. You don't need to be spending money on marketing. Not yet. Get the sales right first. What does good sales look like? You should be aiming for at least 33%, a third. Yeah, a third of inquiries that come in should be converting. Yeah, that's what you should be aiming for. And if you're not there yet, then you need to have a conversation and you know what to do. Jump on LinkedIn, drop me a DM, and then let's talk even further. Right. Been useful today? I hope this has. This has been some real talk around what it actually takes for you to get results from your marketing. May not be of what you wanted to hear because it's true. You try and argue with those facts. Yeah, do the numbers, figure it out, put your own numbers into the equation here that I've said of, this is how many, what's your marketing spend? What are you getting from it? Yeah. What are you converting from actual inquiries into orders? And think about it. Think about how much money you're making from it as well. Do those figures and let me know what your figures are. And if you're not happy with them or need some improvements on it, even marginal gains in what we're speaking about here can make a massive impact on your bottom line for your business. So if you're a manager and you want to look great to your boss or your business or looking for a promotion in the future, start to figure out how to make them more fucking money. Yeah, because that money and promotion doesn't come from, wishes and fairy dances and whatever. Okay. Real talk today, ladies and gents. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. Let me know your feedback. Be great.